What is going on, guys? No, really. No, really. What is going on? Honestly, I first of all want to address this. I know people are going to come out and claim that this isn't a real movie poster. Okay, they're going to say, no. Exit Wounds was actually starring DMX and Steven Skull. I'm here to tell you confidently, it actually, if you go back and watch it, look at the credits, it was actually FFG and Steven Skull. I don't know if she just has a lot of time on her hands. I know she's not streaming nearly as much about Chantal. But as I bring this post up, this tweet, I want you to understand actively what's going on. And I just want you to also understand, as a reactor in this community, I don't see anyone else. I don't see anyone else having family members, not even Chantal, have family members start Twitter accounts to try to dispel some of the statements made by community members. I offer that to you because it's very important to understand that right now, FFG, her brother, and her father have been engaging in this digital back and forth. And I know that I've mentioned in the past that this doesn't really matter. And to be fair, it doesn't. But I think what I find the most interesting about this is that it shows a pattern of behavior with FFG. It shows us in real time that any time she is questioned, her immediate response is to deflect. Her second response is to attempt to do something positive. And her third response is to show that she's done something better for this person than they've done for her. Almost under the concept that because I did this for you, I am immune to your criticisms. You could kind of draw a connection that perhaps she feels that because she, in her mind, saved BBJ, that she is immune from any type of criticism in the community for her actions beyond that. And what's really, really telling to me is while I was making a video responding to her, using her clip as a matter of fact, making bold-faced accusations and lies about me, this was tweeted out. And if you're not familiar, for the longest time, FFG was kind of coming online and saying, this isn't my brother, this isn't my father, not acknowledging what was going on. In fact, to be completely honest, FFG had told a community member that her father had passed, which would mean that there would be no doubt that her father would be unable to tweet if he had passed. But they've been playing this back and forth game, this back and forth, who am I? And most recently, FFG's brother played Who Am I, using a concept that someone came to his home, asked for assistance in a physical manner, declined to provide that because he didn't believe it was justified or right. And this is in the midst of this. And I've edited this, but I'm sure you can kind of put the pieces together. I'm almost positive if you've watched Exit Wounds, you pretty much know the story we're going for here. Who am I? I blanked a rug dealer who lived down the street from my mom. When he and his friends kicked in the door, hooting at me, I ran out the back, around the corner, and to my sister's place, potentially getting her lead. She let me in, hid me, and literally saved my life. Now, the reason I find this so interesting is because if you recall, during the BBJ rescue, one of the biggest things that FFG talked about was how her brother, FFG bro, was always down to do things with her, and kind of painted a picture that he wasn't maybe a savory individual, and that he was going out and doing things that often put him in positions where she was needed to help aid him. And this was just kind of him returning the financial favor. If you see what is above this, she goes on to say that she saved him when he was in imminent danger. And now directly correlates those two situations. She actually goes on to say, you give my enemies the ammunition to use against me. I wish I let them end you. When you talk about touching grass, right? When you talk about having a life outside of the internet or outside of YouTube, I think a big part of that is people understanding like the ability to disconnect, to have the understanding that the internet can go away. All of these conversations, all of these interactions can go away just by shutting off your computer, closing your laptop, cutting the router. But understand, in the moment, this is FFG literally sitting there and comparing her online shenanigans to what she believes us to think are real life interactions, life and death situations. Her brother running from someone in fear, and her being this Mother Teresa-like figure that let him in and allowed him to hide. Now, I don't know a lot of the things that you've done in your life, and I certainly hope that you haven't done anything to this level that FFG is projecting, but what I would offer to you is rather simple. If we have a scenario where you were chasing after someone for any number of reasons, they could have taken something from you, you could be playing a game of hide and seek, and you follow them back to their parents' location, is it some massive stretch then to assume that they wouldn't follow them to maybe another family member? We ultimately know, based on the story, that's where he ended up. So it's interesting that FFG paints this story of her brother having this interaction, needing to flee, being chased to her mother's, and then somehow heroically sneaking out the back door where he's able to scamper away to her safe haven. But no one that was chasing him thought, well, maybe he's just going to go to his sister's? Or is FFG, maybe like with BBJ, such a Houdini, if you will, that she's able to simply hide things and hide people? I mean, after all, she has hidden the receipts of what happened while BBJ was in her care very well, so perhaps maybe she does have this ability to hide someone in her home where they cannot be found. But to presume that all of this, if it was truly factual, would just melt away and never to be seen or heard from again, and only bring it up when you need to discredit the person that is speaking about you, I find that, again, very telling. It's very interesting to me how FFG deals with things. She's very much doing the same thing to the community right now. She's bringing up a lie about me, and she's bringing up this lie at a time she knows it's going to create peak emotion for people. And she hopes, in my opinion, it's going to make people not believe what I have to say. The same way she feels that if she can discredit her brother through a number of reasons, another interaction perhaps that she's going to bring up, or another story perhaps that she's going to tell, that people won't believe him. But the reality is, again, everyone here is a hypocrite. The question becomes, reasonably, who do you have to not trust here? Do you have reasons to not trust FFG? I mean, we've seen that she certainly has the motive to continue on and not be honest with the community, whether it's financially driven or not, with BBJ. We know that right now she's kind of using those same emotions against her brother. And of course, her fallback to all of this has been, this incredibly feral community. But what I find so telling, FFG, is that you had no problem lying about me to this feral community. But when people tell the truth about you, well, that's when you say that you can't be honest with everyone else, because the community could use this all against you. I think what's happening is the cigarettes and shame that you've accumulated over the years are starting to mount to the point that you can't hide the smell anymore. And we're all starting to see you for who you really are. And most of the reactors in this community are starting to also understand that a lot of the negative thoughts, a lot of the negative projections, a lot of the negative opinions that people had about us were rooted in how you acted. You are the one, FFG, that seemed to take things overly personal, that would show up near the orange julep, that would show up at the fashion show, that would go and show pictures of people to Chantal or spray scents that Chantal had around town and record reactions. No one else was doing that. But of course, in this community, one thing that does happen is people get kind of placed into buckets. So all the things you did that were looked at disparagingly by others, a lot of us got lumped into unjustifiably. A lot of us really don't even speak with the vileness and almost a hatred that you do for Chantal, because Again, to most of us, this is just the internet. But I think FFG, we're learning more and more and more that you're starting to really not understand the internet in real life. But your brother most certainly does. And he's brought a lot of your real life to the internet. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching. I will be back as soon as I can with more commentary.